Hey, what's going on, YouTube? It's the brain of the mainframe here, Nile Scala, with another exciting adventure of crowdfunding comics. And tonight, we have the man, a myth, a legend, one who seemed to only lurk in the shadows, but is now here, Mr. Frank Amazing. How are we doing, my friend?
Good. Excited.
My brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Yes, we're related by law.
Yeah.
He married my sister. Oh, man, brother. We got another episode, dude. 106. And they just keep going and climbing. Yep. Rusty, how you doing? We got Rusty in the audience. Hey. And it's just going to be crazy. We got four great guests tonight.
Four.
You know, we're starting off with...
What's that? Two.
One is two.
Two.
One is one, and three is one.
And yeah, 1 plus
you got that?
2 plus 1.
1 and 1 is 2, and 2 and 3 is 1, and that, and then there's Todd Black.
Yeah.
There's Todd Black, and we have him in.
Yeah.
So without further ado, because we're limited on time, we want to get this gentleman on to talk about the awesome books he has going on. We're going to introduce Mr. Todd Black. Todd, welcome to the show.
Hey, Todd.
Hey, hello, everybody.
Hello, Todd. How are you?
Hello.
Todd, we discussed how you were going to talk tonight.
Oh, yes. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Morgan Freeman. My name is Todd Black. Clearly, I've got the problems with the titles.
Excellent. Oh, man, I just got a copyright strike. What the heck, man?
right already.
All right, Todd.
Freeman's watching the show.
Morgan Freeman's watching. Todd, welcome to Crowdfunding Comics. We are happy to have you tonight.
Happy to be here.
So, Todd, let's get into the nitty-gritty, my friend. For anyone that's watching this now live and who's going to be watching it in our lovely syndication, tell us a bit about yourself, your origin story. How did you get into comic books?
Well, I grew up on a lot of comic book television. I grew up in this wonderful decade called the 90s. And that's when we had Batman the Animated Series and X-Men the Animated Series and Spider-Man the Animated Series, and a lot of shows called the Animated Series. And I just grew up loving comics. And eventually I got into reading it when I was 18, when I found out I had a comic book store just like right down the road. Mm-hmm. And I'm not very observant. And then I was like, you know, I've always been a guy to like start making up stories in my head. It was my one good thing outside of my hair. And I just like, well, what could I do to make comics? And then I went to an event called C2E2, that's the Chicago Comic Con, and I went to this Marvel panel where they had a Matt Fraction, legendary comic book writer, and I asked, like, what would it be for a writer trying to get into comics? And he goes, hey, if you want to make comics, find an artist and make comics. And so it took me a couple of years, but I got started with my superhero series, Guardians, and started off with that. Then I went on to make a couple different series. I wrote some novels. I wrote some anthology pieces. And here I am, 31 comics and 5 novels later. And yeah, just keep chugging along.
Holy cow. So wait, when did you actually start? What came first, the comics or the novels?
Comics. My first book I ever officially published, like not including fan fiction, which is a whole nother episode entirely, was Guardians #0, and it was published officially in October of 2013, 12 or 13. I lose track of the days. Mm-hmm. But that was on Comixology during the early days of their Submit program. And then I just made more, and then I made a lot more, and then I started branching out, and now I've got all this.
Okay, that's great. That's a lot in a short period of time.
I'm committed.
How many novels?
5 novels. I write Sherlock Holmes books.
Are they thick?
Oh, I could show you.
Yeah, let's see.
This is one of my books. It's Sherlock Holmes, the Greatest Detective. It's a novel series, and available on Amazon. And like, there you go.
Oh, they're pretty. Yeah, those are pretty decent size.
Yeah, reads. I mean, like this one is like 189. My first one's like 210 or something like that.
Wow.
I hover between like 180 and 250. Like nice short little books, like episodes of a TV series. That's how I like to bill it. So. Oh,
that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm working on an original novel, but as all novel writers will tell you, it's taking forever. So.
Yeah.
But
so you started off, you got your comics going, you got your novels going, you're on Comixology, you're selling on Amazon, correct?
Yes, I have my own Amazon store.
When did you decide, hey, I'm going the crowdfunding route?
Oh, wow. That was okay, originally it was actually before I started making comics, because I heard about Kickstarter and I was like, oh, this sounds like a great idea. And I didn't really understand the concept of it, of like what I was supposed to be doing. So I kid you not, my very first Kickstarter project was called The Next Stan Lee. And the goal was for people to give me money so that I could make comics and become the next Stan Lee. I have no idea how that project got funded. I'm like, or it did get funded, but how did it get approved? It wasn't even like a thing. I'm like, and how did I get away with that? But I didn't get funded.
You stole people's money, Todd.
Well, no, it didn't get funded. It actually didn't make a single dime, which I'm kind of grateful for. But eventually I started working out how to really make this work. And I tried to do it to fund my first series, Guardians, but it just didn't work out. So I started to make Guardians on my own. And the entire Guardians series was funded by me, which is why I was almost broke a couple of times. And then when I started to make my my second series, which was Home, it was a miniseries I did. I knew I had to go Kickstarter route because I was hiring some new artists, and I'm not going to say they were expensive, but they were beyond what I could do at the time. And so I went to Kickstarter again, and by some great miracle, I got all 5 of those Kickstarters funded. So, and then I did a graphic novel called 10,000 Miles, and that was also on Kickstarter. That was my most successful Kickstarter ever. At $3,500 and 113 backers. I would have loved to have 1,000 backers, but I'll take 113. And so I kind of became kind of reliable for not just making Kickstarters, but fulfilling my rewards, which is always an important thing. And so I just kept continuing, and some other series I made on my own. But when I know I need a little bit of help and I want to reach a good audience, I always go to Kickstarter.
Have you ever looked at Indiegogo?
I have. I just consider it too much of a risk, not because I don't trust the platform, although I've heard horror stories. But again, Kickstarter has horror stories.
They both have horror stories.
They all have horror stories. But I like the idea of Indiegogo, but I also have the problem of no matter what you raise, you still have to make it. So if from the series I'm doing now, if I had raised $200 and I still got to complete it, that wouldn't have really helped me at all. And so I like the Kickstarter idea because it gives me a drive to, promote as much as I can. And then I know that if I make it, it's because people had enough faith in me to make this goal. And I've now had 7 successful Kickstarters, and with TBD number 2, it's going to be 8. So
yeah,
and that's a good feeling.
Cool. Yeah, well, Indiegogo did switch that. So you can do 2 different types. So you can do it like Kickstarter does, and then if you're successful, you're funded, and you can do your on-demand store. So while you're getting your book finished, unless yours are done before, sometimes guys complete their books and then go out, or they get portions of it done so you can preview it. And then as the funds come in, you get the book completed. Right. And I think I've always been a Kickstarter fan, and learning with Indiegogo. I mean, between you and me, when I get my book going and we're actually ready to launch, I think I'm going to go Indiegogo. I think I'm going to try Indiegogo out because I like the fact of having that on demand. And then while I'm finishing the book, people can still buy the book in the meantime.
Yeah,
which I think is pretty cool.
I didn't know that they had switched it like that. So
that's they did. But again, though, where you grow your audience may be where you want to stay.
Yeah, and a lot of people that I know, they trust Kickstarter. And it's also about a trust issue. And so, they trust me, obviously. But, it's the technology, and so they'll do Kickstarter, but Indiegogo, they'll be like, do I really have to sign up for another one? And so it's just easier for them. And it's easier for me because I know the platform, I know all the ins and outs, and I know how I can trust it. So
comfort.
Yeah, comfort, exactly.
It's like iPhone. I always say it's like you have iPhone or Android. Android. I like my iPhone because that's what I had. That was my first smartphone. I tried Android, but I got programmed into the Apple world.
Android.
I liked Android
Bye, Todd.
up to a point. So.
Bye, Todd. Yeah. Thanks. Well, now you just okay. Where are we at? Oh,
when I do my book Medico, I'm gonna do it on Kickstarter.
You're going to do my book on Kickstarter?
There's pluses and minuses on both sides. That's just the way it is. So, that's the risk we take when we do crowdfunding. But I've had some success in it, and I'm hoping to continue with all the books that I do.
Yeah. Is there any advice you can give to any new creators out there that are going to be starting their first Kickstarter or Indiegogo?
Yeah. Well, definitely know what you're doing. That's obviously the first thing, because again, I had no clue what I was doing when I first started, and even when I had actual knowledge of what I needed to do to get people's attention, it still didn't work. I had 3 or 4 unsuccessful Kickstarters before I had my first successful one with Home. And but when I did Home, I made sure that, just speaking from the comics perspective, I had the first 5 pages done so that people could see the vision I was having, to show that, hey, we do have art done. We are serious about this. And I promoted the heck out of it. I mean, I was doing Facebook, I was doing Twitter, I was doing podcasts, I was doing everything that I possibly could to get this book funded, because my goal was $2,500, which was to me an insane amount. And I made it. I seriously made it. And I was so happy, but I knew it was because of the work I put into it. And ironically, the book that we talk about today, Tokyo Blade Detectives, I would honestly say I've done the least amount of promotion for, outside of like my basic Facebook and Twitter posts, just because I haven't had the time.
Yeah,
I've been in the middle of a con circuit and everything, and like I was at 3 days of C2E2. I just had a recent con in Peoria, Illinois, and I'm going to be going to Planet Comic Con next weekend, and it's like, I haven't had time and to promote it and keep up with my work, but I still made it, and I'm glad. But I can tell that there's a difference in like the funding and everything, because I haven't, gone out as hard as I usually do. So I'll do that for number 3. But you've got to promote it, because Kickstarter is great, and that sometimes it'll help people find you, but other times you've got to do the work yourself. I would definitely not have gotten funded on any of my projects, Tokyo, 10,000 Miles, or Home, if I didn't plug it incessantly and even bug my friends incessantly to ask for even like $1 to help me out. So for a first time Kickstarter or Indiegogo user, you've got to commit and know what you're doing, so that you don't just leave it up to chance. Because if you leave it up to chance and fate, you're not going to get funded.
Yeah.
And especially if it's like a passion project, like a comic, like a video game, like a book, or whatever you want, you gotta give it your all. Because if you don't, why would everyone else?
Yeah, I mean, you need, but it's got to be important. Like, anyone out there that is going to be do this, like, I mean, as you're saying, and you can attest to this, social media is like everything. Like, you have to pound the streets. And being a creator like yourself, when you're not writing, right? When you're not doing your, and you're in the PR department and you're doing your own public relations, you're promoting and you're doing things. I mean, it is a full-time job times 10. Yeah, I would say, when you're doing your own crowdfunding campaign. Because when the marketing department's working, your writing department's not working, your shipping department's not working, your planning, all that stuff, like, because you're doing that, and your fulfillment, if you don't mind me asking, and we'll get into your new campaign, but of course, how do you find the fulfillment process? Do you do that all by yourself as well?
Yeah, I'm a one-man team. All my artists are across the country, or in the case of Tokyo, they're actually in Vietnam.
Yeah,
but I do it all myself. I thankfully, because of my time with Kickstarter, I now have a process. I know, send out the surveys as quickly as possible, and then give them like 2-3 weeks, and then when the book is done, I try and make sure I have all their surveys as possible. I give out digital comics first, because I can just get them out and everything, and then with the physical ones, I have manila envelopes I got from Amazon. They're very sturdy, and I make sure that everything's written down, and I literally go to the post office like this big stack, and I ship it out, and I pay it all myself, or from the funds we get from the Kickstarter and whatever. So it's tiring, and the last one was especially trying because we had post office issues, which did not make me happy.
Oh, I
but
believe it.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people. Here's a true story. I had 2 friends pledged to Kickstarter. One was in Indiana, which is right next to Illinois, and one was in London. About 3 days after I started shipping, the friend from London posted me, or sent me a picture saying, "Hey, I got the comic. Thanks so much. Really enjoyed it." The other guy, the Indiana guy, hadn't gotten it. And I'm like, what the frick? So I waited a week, waited 2 weeks, and I had to contact him again because the next Kickstarter was already coming up. And he goes, "Yeah, I haven't got my first one." I'm like, "That's impossible. I sent it out like 4 weeks ago." So I go to my printer, I order him a special copy just to make sure it gets sent to him, because the printers, for whatever reason, never have a problem getting their stuff sent. And when it reached him, I kid you not, the day after he got the second copy, the first copy showed up, and it looked like it got run over by a truck. Like, it was wet. It was like super flat. It was crazy. I'm like, what the frick? So yeah, it's a stressful process, and I'm gonna have to make sure that this doesn't happen again with Tokyo number 2, because I can't take this kind of stress. All right, I'm already stressed enough in my life. So, but it's hard. But you gotta get hair out. Yeah, I can handle that, as you can see. I got a lot of backup hair. So,
and we've got Lou TR is he has a very important question to ask us.
Okay.
Okay, and he just posted his question. He's asking us, I got my first job as an artist doing full front and back cover for an indie UK horror abstract genre comic book volume 3, and I desperately need advice because I just asked to pencil first 6 and last 4 pages.
Okay.
Okay, so what advice do you need?
Yeah, what's the question?
So I think he continued where, so I'm not going to be paid, but should I take the job? Question mark.
That's tricky. If you're not getting paid, then no. This is there. I don't believe in the thing that people say, like, don't work for free. There are times when you should work for free. This is not one of those times. Because you're doing pages.
That's a lot of work. It's not like just a cover you're doing. It's not like a page you're doing. Yeah. I mean, you're potentially talking. What is that? You're doing.
You said 6
full front and back cover, so that's 2 images, front and back, and then you're doing the first 6 and 4. So you're talking 10 pages in a front and back cover. Yeah,
that is definitely not a free situation.
That is not a free situation.
That is not a free situation.
That's a choosy beggars.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not.
If it was 1 page, I would have advised to do it because it's 1 page. You know, I do believe in the power of exposure, and people saying, "Hey, I can count on this guy." I believe in that.
I would agree to the cover.
Yeah, and then 10 pages and first 6, last 4. That's a large chunk of a book that you're not getting paid for. So, and they're gonna make money off of it more than likely. So, no, do not. The Todd says no. Todd says no.
Yeah, you're not doing that. That's right. Magua Centurion. That's about $1,400 worth of work.
Depending on your page rate, obviously.
Yeah. Most up and comers, you're $7,500 a page if you're penciling.
I've had a variety of rates over the years, and for my artist team, and I've honestly had a good time finding a fair enough artist rates because you got to work with the writers. Do
you know Jonathan Adams?
Wasn't
I
he
know a
second
couple
president?
Jonathan Adams. I thought so. Thanks, the Todd. Thanks, Nile, and I'm sure there's a thanks, Frank, coming your way. No, but so let's name out there. It's valuable to get my name out there. It is valuable to get your name out there. But you know what? You know me. You know the Tooch. You know plenty of people. Work your networking appropriately. Don't do anything for free for anyone. It doesn't work out, especially the Todd. Don't do anything for. Well, to an extent.
I mean, I just I do believe in the power of working for free if it's like little things. Like if the cover, like let's go back to that. If you did a full cover, I would still ask for at least a little bit of pay. But if it was just, hey, can you fill in the colors really quick? We had a guy and dropped that. I need it done now. You do it, and then that guy goes, I can count on this guy. And then you can ask pay the next one. Hey, I did this for free for you this one time. I need to pay for the next time. And he'll remember that because he goes like, you helped me out. You bailed me out, and I remember that. So that kind of reliability, like that's how I worked with one of my first artists. Because with Guardians, I had 2 artists. They did a great job. The first one had to bail afterwards, like when we're done with the issue. And then I was like, what do I do? And the second guy goes, hey, I can do all of it. And I go, okay, let's give it a shot. So I had him do a first page for free, and he did it. And I was like, okay, you're done. And I hired him, and I've been working with him ever since. So it's just one of those things.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Just go with your best judgment. Don't give away the farm for free. Just give him a cow.
Yeah,
just give him a cow.
Milk
the cow. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of everything here, Todd.
I just ate.
What's that?
I just ate.
You just ate meat and potatoes?
No, I don't eat meat and potatoes. I just ate enchiladas.
Oh, enchiladas.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you.
Taco
I try.
Taco Tuesday. But he had enchiladas. It's not tacos, bro.
No, not even close. Nice try, though.
Maybe if it was Mexican Monday. I don't know.
So, Todd, Tokyo Blade Detectives #2.
Yep.
So you have 4 days left to go. You have 76 backers. You have met your goal.
I have.
So tell us a bit about Tokyo Blade Detectives.
Well, Tokyo Blade Detectives, which I just happen to have the first issue right here next to me. How convenient. It's about Tokyo 200 years into the future. They have been through a world war, a civil war, a complete deconstruction and reconstruction of the country. I almost said company. That would be hilarious. No, that was America. Zing. And they are now this country that is once again is super revered for their technology, but they're afraid of what the world has done, and so they make a rule that cannot be broken. They've made a rule that you must not violate. You cannot have a gun. And so, and to further embrace their heritage, they have now made a laser swords to kind of fill the void of power, if you will, which just causes more problems because we can't have anything nice. And so now there's so there's now these 5 factions, which you're seeing one right there. These 5 factions running around, and they're trying to seize power. And for the people, they're trying to live their lives, which is technically this utopia, but with all these 5 factions and the government constantly at war, it's just absolute chaos. And for our main character, Miko, she's a 16-year-old detective just trying to live out her days with all the craziness going on. So, fun times.
What made you come up with this idea?
Facebook meme.
Really?
I kid you not. This is one of my favorite stories to tell. I was on Facebook and I was just scrolling, and I came across those like, what is your blank? You know, and you fill in like your name or whatever. And mine was, what is your anime title? And I'm like, I like anime. Let's do this. So it was the letters that spelled out were TBD, Tokyo Blade Detectives. And this was around when the first Deadpool movie was coming out. So I had like the trailer in my head. So I put in the comments, Tokyo Blade Detectives sounds like a franchise. And I left it. I clicked out of Facebook. I was done. And then a few hours later, I come back on and I see that I have a reply. And he goes, hey, yeah, that does sound like a franchise. You should run with it. So I'm like, okay. And I was like, okay, well, it's Tokyo Blade Detectives. All right, well, there's detectives, so it's got to be modern day. But why is there swords? What could it possibly be to have swords and not guns? And that's when just this tagline ran across my mind and was, in a land where guns are outlawed, only the blade can rule. And I was like, boom. And like all the ideas started flowing in because I love Japan. I've always loved Japan as a country. I grew up on various animes like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Outlaw Star, and all of them. And I love samurai. I love the feudal age. And so I just like, what if I make this like my tribute to Japan while having a lot of fun with it? So if you look through the franchise or the first Kickstarter and the second Kickstarter, you're going to see a lot of references to Japan. Like the 5 factions are named after various aspects of Japan's history. Like the woman right there, that is the Empress of Japan, which has never happened before. The guy on the left, that's the Tao, which is a representative of Taoism, which is an actual Japanese religion. The swords are obvious because we all love samurai. We do have samurai in this series. We also have a group called the Ronin, and we have yokai, which are monsters, but they're my kind of monsters. And we even have a reference to the 9-tailed fox, which all of the Naruto fans out there should know the reference to. And on and on and on. And I make it like their clothes are very retro and like very feudal age, but also have ones like Miko where the technology is actually built in. We have a lot of surprises in that element. We have a lot of futuristic sci-fi technology, like with the laser swords and all that. And it's just this very fun glimpse of a future Tokyo, and I love it so.
That's awesome, man. I like you can feel that passion of this world you made.
Yeah.
As you're describing it. This
is without a doubt one of the deepest worlds I've made, and I've had a lot of time building worlds in my comic and novel writing career. But this one, I went the deepest, and I researched everything I could about yokai and Taoism and everything I could just to make it like a true embodiment of the history of Japan, just set in the future.
Rusty Dale says Tao is Chinese, actually.
It was Chinese originally, but it was brought over to Japan.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, like, if you remember the series Digimon, there was in Digimon Season 3, they had a Digimon called Taomon, and the show is Japanese, and so Tao, and they had the Tao symbol included with the character. So it was Chinese born, but it was eventually brought over to Japan, and it's still there today.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So how can if anyone's backing issue number 2,
yes,
how can we get issue number 1?
Actually, if you scroll down, you will see I have various Kickstarter rewards to get you issues 1 and 2, including a $5 reward where you can get both books digitally. Nice. We have the physical rewards at the $15 tier, where you can get them both physically. Tokyo gives you 2 books right there. And then if you pledge anything 20 or up, I will have a question in your survey. Do you need Tokyo Blade Detectives number 1? and I'll include that for free because you're pledging well above where you would get the $2 physically.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yeah. This was something I incorporated via home where I had like the 5 issues. I was like, hey, do you need the other books? Here's your tier rewards to get them.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
And then you got the level to be drawn in.
Yes, that is
we have 6 left of 15. Hurry up there, people.
That is by and large my favorite reward. I've done that ever since home, and people just love to be drawn into comics, and it's so much fun. And then that's right there is the last reward, our $150 reward. You will get every single comic I've ever made, all 20 issues of Guardians, the 5 issues of Home, 10,000 Miles, which is a graphic novel, and the 2 issues of Tokyo. So that's 28 comics for $150. So,
wow,
you're welcome.
That's a great deal. That's a steal of a deal.
Yeah, and then I also have some other ones where I actually help creators. I have one where you can actually hire me to help you with your Kickstarter to make sure that you do everything you can to try and get funded. I even have one where you'll work with me and my team to help you make your own comic. So, which I believe one person has pledged to. So, I'm trying to pay it forward all the help I've been getting over the years with my adventures. So I want to help out anyone, and to all you out there, we got digital rewards, we got physical rewards, we got art rewards. A friend of mine, Rob Hogan, drew a special piece for Tokyo. We're offering that for like $30, and we got a lot. I try and offer a lot so that people will say there's at least a reward for me.
Oh, cool. And then Lou T. Art, as mentioned, because he's part of a group in Long Island, and I'm not sure how far it expands. Lou, maybe you can elaborate. It's the Comic Collectors Guild, and he's willing to help push this campaign for you through their channels, and their social media and stuff like that. So I don't know. Where could Lou get in touch with you?
He can reach me on my social media, which is for Twitter. If you're on there, Lou, I'm at @Guardians_comic, or you can find me on Facebook at author Todd Black. You can message me there. So there's ways, or you can reach out to me on the Kickstarter. You just go to the Tokyo Blade Detectives Kickstarter. If you pledge either $1, I believe you can message me regardless. So because that's how I get all the spammers. It's like, hey, we need like $5 to send your Kickstarter to 5,000 people. I get them all the time, and it's so frustrating. So yeah, send me a message there. Or we can work something out, and I appreciate any help y'all can get. Even though we've reached our goal of making it to our funding, I do want to get to 100 backers. I made it to 100 backers last time with Tokyo Blade Detectives #1, and we're a little bit away from 100, but I still think we can get in the last 5 days. So any help to get to that 100 would be just great.
All right, now we've got a couple minutes left in your segment here. I just want to jump in really quick. So Home, this is one of the books you mentioned.
Yeah, this is one of the books you'll get if you pledge to certain tiers. Yes.
And what's this about? Just real
It's
quick.
about a young woman named Alicia who was born natural blue hair, and one day she gets taken from our Earth and thrown into another dimension, a realm of knights and monsters. Now she's stuck there having to help these people with their problems so that she can get home, if she can get home, if she wants to go home.
Nice.
Thank you.
Now,
10,000 miles.
Yeah. What was that, Frank?
I was going to say, Tokyo Blade Detectives.
Yes.
Home was 5 issues. Are you planning to do the same?
Right now, Tokyo is billed as my next ongoing series. Technically my first one since Guardians, where I have a lot of ideas for this one. So the goal for this year is to get done with the first arc and then build it up from there. But then I'm intending this to be as ongoing as I can make it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
10,000 miles.
10,000 miles is about 2 brothers that are about to be separated in life, and they decide that we're going to go on one last great adventure together. We're going to dig our way to China. And they will do it, but how they do it, that's the adventure.
There's a blonde guy and a guy with brown hair, huh?
It's Frank and Nile, except the blonde guy has his hair.
And I have a vest.
Yeah. I actually wore a vest today. And then last, we have the Guardians.
That was my superhero series about 2 beings created by a deity to protect a city in need. They were given great power, perfect control of their power, 0 people skills. Yeah, so what happens is they go to this watchtower in the middle of the city and they just stand there and wait to be needed. And as time goes on, they start to ask themselves, is there more to our lives than just this purpose? One says yes, one says no. Supervillains start showing up and the fun begins.
Awesome.
Thank
All
you.
right, Todd. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
My
It's
pleasure.
been great having you on, and we'll continue to we'll get some tweets out, help push your next 4 days of your series, as well as on Facebook. So we'll make sure we'll keep help pushing it for you. And Lou will reach out to you. Just go on Facebook and look for Todd Black. You can even, check in my friends if you want Lou. He's there. And
you've tagged me in various posts.
Oh yeah, or go on my tags and just click on it, Lou, and you'll find him. All right. So Todd, thanks so much. We appreciate it. Next time you get another campaign going, please reach out to us or any other products you're working on. If you want to get it plugged on the show, just shoot us an email or a DM, whatever you want to do. All right, sir. Guys. Have a great night, and I hope those enchiladas don't give you too much of an issue.
Oh no, I enjoy them too much.
There you go.
Have toilet paper around.
No.
Jesus.
You bought it all. Gosh.
Come on, unbelievable. All right. Thanks so much, Todd. We'll talk to you.
Later, guys.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All right, Frank.
All right.
So now we've got our next. Would you like to introduce our next guest?
I'll let you continue.
Come on, a little ambition. Why? You're filling in for Tucci.
I gotta, sit like this.
Yeah, sit like that.
Yeah, for like Tucci.
Yes. All right.
No, go ahead.
All right. So we have 2 creators, a team, a husband and wife duo here. They have the Grim Reaper 2 out on Indiegogo. So everyone, please welcome John and Carla to the show. John and Carla, how are you doing this evening?
Doing great, Brian. Thanks for having us, man. Thank you for inviting us.
Hello.
Hey.
No, I'm the brain.
Oh,
I'm the brain, John.
The brain.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Brian Nile Scala.
Yeah, Brian Nile Scala. So how are you guys doing this evening?
Yeah.
Oh, they froze up on us.
Frozen couple.
Frozen couple. At least they're smiling. They're smiling, which is good.
They've had a good time so far.
Yes, they're having a great time right now. All right. So let's do this. We'll give them a cent. They may want to, if they can hear us, they may want to log out and relog back in. And we'll just put that down this way. We don't have to keep them up. But yeah, so Todd got a pretty good book out. And that's incredible. Yeah. He's been doing comics and novels for 6 years.
Yeah.
And he's got, what did he?
9.
How many?
He's 9 created in Kickstarter. So this is his 9th one. So, he's had a couple, 2 standalone, the Guardians, and then he went with Home, and then went with the 10,000 Miles, and is bringing it back with a series.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
But like,
that's a lot of writing in a short period of time.
Yeah, and I gotta imagine, especially for Tokyo. Must be interesting, you're finding people with like the West, Japan and everything.
There we are.
Hey,
sorry about that, guys.
That's okay.
No worries,
technology.
No worries. Yeah, technology.
Thank you for having us today.
Oh no, I'm so happy you guys came on. It was funny because Frank saw this product and he messaged me like, dude, you gotta check this out. This is really cool. Because I'm like huge on the whole like Grim Reaper-y thing and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, they got this great project out. So we looked at it and yeah, there you go. Boom. Awesome. So if you guys can, tell us about yourselves, just because, any of our viewers aren't familiar with you. I myself I'm not hugely familiar with you guys. Give us your origin story. How did you get into comics and where you are today?
All right, sure. I'll go. We are, like you mentioned before, husband and wife team. She is the artist and the colorist. So she makes everything happen. She makes all the magic happen. And I'm the writer and the creator and kind of like the ideas behind the stories. And, we partner up some years ago for a project that is unrelated to what we're working on right now. But we went from there and we got married. And now we kind of left the whole comics scene behind. We just stopped for a while, and then we decided to do something together.
To have comic babies.
On. Yeah, to have some comic babies. And we decided to also crowdfund it because it seemed to us like it was the best possible route. And we've been so happy with the results so far. This is the second book we put out together. And yeah, man, it's a great thing to live with the artist. You know what I mean?
So John, what's it like living with your boss? I mean, is it tough?
The other way.
Is it tough? I don't know.
I don't know.
That's what we all say. We're like, we're the boss. And then there's
Right.
yes, dear. Now let me ask you: were you guys both working in comics before you met?
Well, I'm a manga artist actually, and I have been freelancing for a while. But no, I never had like a book on my own. I always been working for other people. Well, you also weren't working. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it was mostly just a hobby. You know, I was like, I started writing very young, you know, at a very young age. But like through my teenage years, I just pretty much just stopped and just focused on other things, you know. It was actually kind of a funny story because when I was in the military, I suffered an accident and I was in a wheelchair for a while, and it was extremely boring and very, you know what I mean, very depressing. And all I had to do was just read. All I could do was read all day.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And then my battle buddies, my friends, kept bringing me just nothing but comics, and I just devoured them. And I can say, man, like confidently, I can say that comics pretty much just saved my life because it was a tough spot. You know, I was very depressed about the fact that I was in this wheelchair. I couldn't really walk. I can walk now, you know what I mean. But at the time, it was really a bad experience for me. But you know, just having these outlet, I guess you can say, you know, really saved my life and kept my mind occupied and kept me busy and kept me moving forward. So I really owe a lot to comics, and so we put a lot of passion behind these projects for sure because we both love comics. We grew up with them, and we love what we do.
So what were your favorite books growing up? What were your favorite comics?
My favorite comic books? I will say that probably my most favorite comic, I will say, is probably the Neil Gaiman's The Sandman.
Nice.
And you can see a lot of influences of that in this book.
Yeah.
All throughout. You know what I mean? I was also a big fan of Hellboy and Daredevil. I was super into Daredevil, and I really love the Netflix show too. I think it does a lot of justice to the character in many ways. Yeah. But yeah, I think my most favorite, like most of those Vertigo books, like the more mature DC version of all these books, were probably it was what I was into when I was a kid.
Very cool, Carla. What about you?
Sorry.
What's your favorite comic book or one that you grew up with that really inspired you?
Well, as I told you guys, I'm
or manga stuff that you do.
So I'm Rumiko Takahashi. She's my goddess. She's the creator of Inuyasha, Ranma, Ibunoichi. She's my goddess. Simple as that. Like since a little girl, I always enjoyed her work, and yeah, she's top.
Now, is there any like new manga out right now that's really getting you, like something that's really capturing you?
Yes, I have a little influence from Hiro Mashima. That was the creator or Fairy Tail. I was very into Fairy Tail, but that's like my visual influences. So yeah, pretty much those are like the best.
Yeah. So now, how did you guys get into the Reaper, the Grim Reaper?
Well, I mean, the Grim Reaper, you know, he just, I was working on many stories, and she can attest to this. Like we always start projects and just kind of, you know, halfway through, I just go, you know what, I think I have a better idea now, so let's do this one instead. You know what I mean? And with the Reaper, I think we had so many stories lined up that we were going to do, but it just seemed like last year was a year that we were very much in contact with death in many ways. You know, the passing of many of my friends and even my best friend and all of that. And I don't know, it was just a moment of inspiration, and I just wanted to vent, and I just wanted to put like my feelings out there as well. And my wife was very understanding because she was living through the same thing at the same time with me, you know. She was very sympathetic to all the things that I was going through, and then the Grim Reaper was born, and it was kind of a different look at death, and of course as a character, and in a comic book way, you know, maintaining like that whole comic book vibe, while at the same time kind of going into deeper waters when it came to talking about these concepts and these things. So yeah.
So what was Grim Reaper your first issue about? And actually, let me ask another question. So let me pull this up here too, so we have it.
Oh, you
Sorry, so you have your first issue out now.
Yes.
Are you able to get a copy of the first issue in this campaign?
Yes, it's right there. The feature perk. You can get actually the super pack of the 3 books that we worked on.
Right here. Okay, perfect.
And actually, there's another perk where you can get just Grim Reaper 1 and Grim Reaper 2, because that book in the middle is actually a spin-off story that involves the Grim Reaper characters, but it's not necessarily about them. And it's kind of like a different plot, but it was a fun thing to write as well. So yeah, you can get the Grim Reaper 1 in this campaign as well.
That's 3 books for $30.
Yeah, it's a really
that's a great deal. Yeah. And if you can you hold up that cover again? Because that thing is cool.
Yeah, and
that is awesome.
You know, a very simple, very to the point cover, but you look at the glossy, and man, we use the best printer out there. I can't give it out because my friend Beanie made me promise I couldn't give it out. But we use
high quality. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Really good quality. Great art by this genius right here. And I think
the art is beautiful. You're very talented. You're a very talented artist.
Yeah, it has a very strong manga influence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to westernize it a little bit. But yeah, I think that this artistic blend works for the story. It's fun. It has a lot of energy.
Yeah.
The colors are vibrant. You know, I don't know. It has something special to it. And in the end, we did a cemetery with all our backers.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, we told them, if you back us, we kill you.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
that is so awesome.
Yeah,
so tell us a bit about the story.
Yeah, well, I mean,
or what you can share.
With the Grim Reaper 1, it's basically the story begins with this person. The story kind of begins from the perspective of quote unquote the villain, even though there's not necessarily a villain.
Oh, do we lose him again? All right, this is what we'll do.
There we go.
Right. So it's the perspective of the antagonist, you may say. He got traumatized with death because he saw his mother die of cancer, right? And he had to become this really brilliant scientist, and he got into cryonics. Basically, what his company does is that they just preserve decapitated heads in ice forever until they figure out a way to bring him back to life. And so they do, and he's able to actually reanimate a person who's been dead for 10 years, right? A person whose head has been cryonically kept on ice for all this time, right? Of course, now that's when we go into the more mystical aspect to it, because we find out about the Grim Reaper, the Man in the Hat. Now, the Man in the Hat appears in many scenes at first, right? Doing his Grim Reaper job, you know. He goes into a boxing match where the boxer is about to die. But then we see a more human side to him as he actually prevents a suicide, you know. He sees a girl about to jump off a building, and he goes and actually talks her over, and he just tells her, look, it's not your day. Today's not your day. So if you jump, you're just gonna become a vegetable for the rest of your day. So if you want to avoid that, don't do it. And so she thinks it twice and decides not to do it. Right. Then these scientists manage to bring this person back to life, but of course it kind of ends up becoming like a Frankenstein situation kind of thing. This is just a monster that just has no soul and wakes up and went up. And it just starts attacking people because it's just like a newborn baby in a grown-up body, in a muscular. So he just goes berserk and just starts attacking everybody. But then we find out that the Grim Reaper is not just the Grim Reaper alone. He has helpers. His helpers are his children, right? And his children represent different ways in which people die, right? You have Themis here, who's the beautiful death. It's like the desirable death, the way everybody wants to die, right? A peaceful death. You have Perseus, who's a heroic death, you know, the person who sacrificed themselves for the greater good and so on and so forth. And you have Styx, who's kind of like the Darwinism at work. You know, he's the dumb deaths. He's people who die, I don't know, sticking a fork in an outlet or something like that, right? So his children aid him in the whole Grim Reaper business, right? So a couple of flashbacks, and we find out that the Grim Reaper was actually the Red Baron from World War I. And I like to do this a lot. Like a lot of our books are a lot of historical fiction, if you will. with a lot of fantasy and horror and stuff thrown in there. But so yeah, he's actually the Red Baron from World War I.
Mm-hmm.
So we find out that the Grim Reaper is not necessarily just a person who's always been the Grim Reaper, but a mantle, a job that gets passed on from one to another. And so the Grim Reaper so Manfred gets chosen to become the Grim Reaper by the former Grim Reaper, who's tired of doing it and just decides to give up the scythe and let Manfred become the Grim Reaper. So that's why we see that he has a more human side. And why not? So that's kind of how the conflict arises. You know, Manfred has to face the fact that he cannot kill this creature because he has no soul. And the only way he can take a person's life is that person has a soul. So he goes into purgatory to try to find out a way to do it. And yeah, so the conflict arises and then big battles and the cool comic book stuff happens. and we visit a lot of like historical periods. And like I said, there's a lot of historical fiction in it. You know what I mean? There's even there's a part where you see him interact with Dracula, and he actually impales Vlad the Impaler and things like that. So,
that's so cool.
With history, with
oh, they froze up again.
At least they're enjoying themselves again.
with mythology, I don't know, there was like to be some problem. Maybe there's like coming here in Phoenix or something. I don't know. We're not very used to raining, and when you rain, everything just breaks. Yeah. So in a nutshell, that's kind of the Grim Reaper, and it was very well received. We didn't make a lot of money out of it, but we did fulfill. We did fulfill it. We reached our goal. Mm-hmm. It was a modest goal, but we reached it. And
yeah, we are very new to the indie comic scene, so we are still like developing our audience. So guys, if you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to White Cat Comics. That's our channel in YouTube. We do streams very often, and yeah, yes, thank you, baby. This is White Cat Comics. Oh well.
We'll put a link in the chat, and then we'll add a link in the description of the show.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's so shiny that you can you can see yourselves.
Yeah, look, you get a book and you get a mirror at the same time. So
yeah.
Can be that.
So issue 1 was funded successfully. You guys did great, and now you're on issue 2, and you guys are kicking some ass here. I mean, you're definitely rocking and rolling on issue 2. You've almost doubled what you did with issue 1, and this looks awesome. So what I'm going to do real quick is you guys got a really cool video. I want to play this for everyone. So if you don't mind, I'm going to play the video for everyone, and then we'll start talking about issue 2.
Grab the popcorn.
Very cool, very cool. But did you guys make that video yourselves?
Yeah, we did. It was a lot of work here, a lot of talent. A lot of talent. Yeah. And look, and one of the reasons why a lot of people, like you see, most of our backers are return backers from the first one. You know, we do have a lot of new people, and we love that. But I think one of the reasons why people are jumping on this so much is because they know we fulfill. You know what I mean? We fulfill super earlier than we thought we would. So
the campaign ended in October, and we fulfilled in November.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And you know, we are planning on like staying along those lines. You know, putting a lot of work and of course taking care of our backers. And by the way, because we did reach the $2,000 mark, everybody will get that pinup that you just scroll past.
This one right here.
Everybody will get that pinup for free because we did reach our first milestone, I guess you would say, of $2,000 stretch goal of $2,000. Everybody will get that pinup for free.
Yeah, you can.
Cool. I love this image right here.
Yeah.
Really different designs. I'm back, right?
Yeah.
You're back.
Like
You're back.
Yeah, this is more like family friendly. And then last but not least, below we have Asriel, the angel of death. Very sweet angel, yeah. So you can choose any of those three.
I'm for that picture, right? I went like that.
You modeled for that one? I can see it. It's in the biceps and the jawline. Yeah.
You do that.
The long flowing locks.
Yeah. You don't realize it. There's a ponytail there. When he gets off the air, he's like,
yeah. Somewhere here.
Oh, he's got it hidden. It's like a shampoo commercial. I'm just jealous. But, no, this is I love your, you say it like it's, I'll be honest, I don't see major manga influence in the work. So I think your goal to kind of make it more Western style, if that's proper terminology, I think it looks great. I mean, to be honest, I think it's just a unique style. It's like, it's really good. I like the illustration. I like your line work, your character design and development. This looks great. And for the premise of what you told us about the story, the imagery fits it perfectly. Absolutely perfectly.
That's the best thing you can say to an artist. So.
Yeah. And in there you can see like interior work from both the book number 2 and the spin-off. So that's the spin-off right there. You see
right here.
Yeah, you see the Grim Reaper drinking vodka with Rasputin. It happens, So you see the Mad Monk of Siberia doing his thing, and why not? They'll actually challenge each other to an arm wrestle competition. Mm-hmm. And if Rasputin beats the death, right? If he beats the Grim Reaper, then the Grim Reaper cannot take his life because the Grim Reaper goes to visit him and tells him, "Hey, buddy, your time's up," Yeah. But Rasputin manages to cheat him, so the Grim Reaper gives him something that, so long as he wears it, he cannot die. And like I said, historical fiction, lots of that in our books, right? Mm-hmm. If you know anything about this guy, he got poisoned, he got shot, he got stabbed, he got thrown in a frozen river, and he wouldn't die. So the way I'm explaining that is because the Grim Reaper gave him this artifact, you know what I mean, that protects him from ever dying. That's why he couldn't do it. And because he lost the arm wrestle competition, of course. Thank you to Rusty. Yeah, great friend. So yeah, it's we have interior artwork from both and a little bit of story there, and so that's from the Grim Reaper too.
That's actually Pandora from Pandora's box.
Yeah, from the Greek myth. Yeah. Yeah, we play a lot with mythology, with history, and with our own imaginations there, and just let them run wild. You will find a lot of that. It's I wouldn't say it's necessarily a PG-13 book. It might be the occasional boob or two. You never know, but this is what you get. And yeah, occasional.
Wow, very good. This is good. How long does it take you guys to develop this? Like from your first inception of the idea to now issue 2? How long has it been?
We started in October. We did have a major setback at the beginning of the year because our house actually burned down and we did lose everything. So it was a big setback until we had to purchase pretty much all the electronics again with the help of the comic book community, the indie comic book CG and Work and Paint and all those folks who helped us out. We rose above it and bought everything back, and actually we got a huge upgrade because like the artwork is looking so much better now with the new tablet and all that. So
like I got the preview of the finished pages I had, but of course the DPI is not enough for printing, so I had to redo everything.
So will there be an issue 3?
Yes,
it's a trilogy, right?
Yes,
trilogy.
Oh, it's a trilogy.
And we are like we're kind of floating in, thematically speaking, because the Grim Reaper 1, you dive into like this good first issue that pretty much accomplishes what a first issue should. You know what I mean? It has a beginning and an end, but it does end with a really good cliffhanger. But this book is mostly just a horror story, if you will. With lots of action, lots of kind of darkness around it. the Grim Reaper 2 is kind of a detective-esque vibe to it, kind of a detective comic, if you will. And the Grim Reaper 3 is actually a love story. So the Grim Reaper will fall in love with someone, and we'll find out who the mother of his children is, and why not, So.
Oh, very cool. That's awesome. I look forward to seeing that. Now, a more important question is, do you need me to model for issue 3 again?
Yeah, I think we do.
That's out of the bag. Those are my abs.
I think we do need that, bro. We do need that.
No, that's awesome. Do you guys have anything else coming out in the future? Anything outside of the Reaper that you plan on crowdfunding?
Yes, that's actually going to be our next campaign. It's going to be called Cosmo Monkey. It was actually the book that we met through, so it's a very special book.
He hired me to do that book, and that's how
we never finished it. You know what I mean?
Because we were too busy marrying each other.
Yeah, why not? And it's about a monkey who is part of like the Soviet space program, right? Mm-hmm. And so he gets launched into space, and they want him to be able to come back. So they train him to be able to maneuver the craft back into Earth and back to safety. But the monkey just freaks out because, he's been launched into space, for crying out loud, right? So he doesn't do what he's supposed to, and he gets launched into space further. There, a group of aliens actually catch him, and they operate on him and modify him, and they send him back to Earth, I guess, as a practical joke, because they know what's going to happen. And this monkey comes back to Earth, and he's intelligent, he can talk, and he's hungry for murder. You know what I mean? He's super bloodthirsty because all the things that they did to him. And because his family is still in a cage somewhere in a Soviet laboratory, he's going to go in there and try to rescue them. And that's pretty much the premise of it.
Awesome. That's awesome. So we only have a couple of minutes left in your segment. Really quick, how can the fans out there keep in touch with you guys and track what you're doing? Because Lou T. Art in our chat here, he has the Comic Collectors Guild. And they help promote things like that, and I'm sure he's going to want to reach out to you to see what they can do to help with your campaign and what you guys are doing. So how can people get a hold of you guys?
Sounds great. Thank you. Yes, we are in Twitter. My Twitter is this, as you can see here, Carla_Tornielli. That's mine. And actually, both of our Twitters are in the bottom of the campaign. Like, I don't say my husband's Twitter because it's a bunch of numbers. But you can get to it in the campaign. Also, please subscribe to White Cat Comics. Yes, there. You also have our email, everything, even our weight and height. And we are very, very good with customer service. We are very open, and we love talking to you guys. And all our backers know they can ask anything they want all the time. So subscribe.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Lou, just go to their Indiegogo page. All the info is there. Wow, fantastic, guys. So we appreciate you guys coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
As we do with all new creators that come on our show, once you're on the show, you're part of the Crowdfunding Comics family. Keep us in the loop with what you're doing. If you want to come back on the show to promote something, shoot us a DM, a message. Sometimes I even reach out. If I have a guest, I'm like, hey, Carl and John may be good guest co-hosts with me for this creator. I may reach out to you guys and say, hey, do you want to do a show with me? So, please stay in touch. Good luck with everything. We're going to continue to push your book through our channels, our Twitter, our Facebook, and Instagram. Frank Amazing will keep pushing those out there, and we'll help push this until the final days. Now, you guys are going to take this in demand?
Yes, it'll be in demand.
We have 2 weeks left, I think.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. When are you looking to actually have this fulfilled? Once you're set?
It's for June.
June, okay. Right around the corner.
It'll probably be somewhere sooner than that, but to give ourselves a pretty good deadline, I would say June.
Yeah, issue 1 is still available. It's right there in the select perk. For anyone that's not familiar with Indiegogo, usually we'll have a select perk, and this will be kind of the most recommended or the most backed level. So in this level, you're going to get issues 1 and 2, and you're also going to get. I'm sorry. Please describe the third comic, the spinoff issue as well. So again, John and Carla, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much, guys.
Look forward to having you guys again on the future. Keep us in the loop on anything. Tag us in whatever you want. We'll help spread the word.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me.
Fantastic. Carla, I love your drawing. And John, I can't wait to read some of your script.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
All right. Have a great night, guys. Thank you so much.
Yourself as well, guys. Much respect. Bye-bye.
And now we enter the final half hour.
Yes.
For our first ever Spotlight Artist, Mr. Steph Wilson, welcome.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. How you been?
Good. A little nervous about being the first artist, though. That's kind of,
The first artist ever. We never had an artist on the show.
Yeah.
I can't.
The
Just
very
writers.
first.
I'm sure you've had artist creators, but yeah,
Yeah,
obviously, probably.
Well, I was thinking, I'm like, I'm trying to add more content, more segments, trying to get, the episodes a little more diverse to bring in more viewers and whatnot. We're trying to grow this whole this great platform that doesn't look at anything but good comics, good creators, and just a positive channel to push away all the negativity in the world stuff.
I know. There's so much negativity.
It's
So much.
So BS. I just don't care anymore. So we're just gonna have fun, right? So
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I'm gonna start adding a creator spotlight, and I have been slow. It's kind of an interesting progression. I started seeing your work, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. This is neat. And I think I sent you a friend request on Facebook. Like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I started seeing your stuff. You posting some of your work, and I'm like, oh, cool. This is neat. And then I'm like looking at campaigns, and I'm starting to see your work in campaigns. I'm like, wait a minute, who is this guy? And then over the past few months, I've been seeing a lot of your work. And to me, it feels like, and maybe I'm wrong, it just feels like a boom of Steph illustrations just popping up everywhere. Yeah. And I mean, you have such a fun style. And it's great. If I may, I'm just going to pop up one really quick so everyone gets an idea here. I mean, it's great. I mean, it's fun.
It is.
It's fun. How did this all come to be, Steph? Please give us a bit of like your origin story.
Okay, so my origin story way back when I was a kid, I didn't follow comics the way or buy comics as a kid. My mom was very much into art and taught me about art, and I always loved art, and I loved fantasy art and Dungeons and Dragons and that kind of thing. But I didn't really have any experience with comics. And then one day I walked into a game shop, and they had a comic wall, and I saw Michael Turner's on the cover of Fathom, a Fathom cover, and the art was beautiful. I mean, it's Michael Turner, It's like if anything's going to suck you into the world of art, Michael Turner could do it. And so then I just grew to love, like, particularly your big graphic novel kind of books. You remember how Heavy Metal used to put out art books and hardcover graphic novels and stuff like that? Oh, yeah. So I fell in love with like Aspiri and Frazzato and some of those kind of books. And I just always fell in love with art. But about 6 years ago, I started selling sketches online because my wife said, why don't you sell some of your sketches? And so I was selling my fan art sketches online. And everybody has to put their time in comics somewhere, somehow. And it was 6, maybe 7 years on eBay selling fan art sketches after fan art sketches. And then my wife said one day to piss or get off the pot. She said, either you're going to do this art or, focus on your career instead. So what I did was I got onto Facebook, I got onto Instagram, and that was in December. And interestingly enough, I got onto Instagram and I got blocked because my website, Instagram didn't like my website address, and it took me a while to figure it out. So I got onto Facebook, and shortly after I got onto Facebook, all of a sudden somebody asked me for a cover. It was just like out of nowhere.
That's pretty cool. I mean, so if you don't mind, let name drop a little bit. Who have you been doing covers for?
Oh, okay. Interestingly enough, Ron Zabala was the first person to ever ask me for a cover. And the funny story was he messaged me on Facebook and said, how much do you charge for a cover? And I said, I'm not doing sketch covers right now. And he had to message me back. Like I totally blew him off, and he had to message me back and go, no, I mean a real cover. And I was like, oh, okay. So, shortly after that, a retailer reached out for me for a variant, and I was like, oh my God, I'm doing comic covers. This is so cool. And a little while after that, I saw a post from Tom Hutchinson about, I think it was his Joan of Arc. And I said, oh, I really want to draw that. And his response right back to me in comments was, go ahead. And I think he just meant that as in kind of like a general kind of comment kind of way. But I took him seriously. I did the line art. I sent it to him. He liked it. I said, you mind if I have it colored? He said, go ahead. I had a friend of mine color it. And next thing I know, he was inviting me onto a cover. And that was June. So June of last year, I had one possible cover, a retailer variant, and then Tom putting me on a BDI book. And then everything literally from that point just blew up. And so currently now, like I have Jim Noble. I'm doing the Totally Rad Babes in Space cover. I've got covers for Violet coming out for him coming up. I've got Princesses versus Zombies with Tom Hutchinson coming out coming up shortly. Currently, right now, you can see the boobs off to the one side of the screen. That belongs to Nothing Man with John Rhodes, right there.
Nice. Well, let me do this. I'm going to pop up because
go ahead.
The way the files came through, they weren't labeled. So I'm just going to pop it up and you name drop it. So we got this here.
This is Totally Rad Babes from Outer Space, a little heavy metal magazine homage.
Yeah.
That's Totally Rad Comics with Jim Noble. That's the Violet video game at the mall cover. An 80s themed comic.
Awesome.
So,
Love that.
so we had to do a game room, you know?
Yeah.
Baby Badass coming out in June, I think, or July. Little Star Wars homage.
Yes. I love this.
Syria, Underworld Pimp Hustler with Vince Hernandez. I'm not sure the date on that book. That's coming out. He's fulfilling one right now and putting together two.
Nice.
Oh, Ace and Starlet. That's out right now. That's with Louis Torres. Yeah, that's a great book.
And then we did pop this one up, Nothing Man, which you brought up. And then the St. Patty's.
The St. Patrick's Day special. That came in a speckle foil, which was absolutely gorgeous.
Awesome.
That's really cool.
I love that.
This
is great too.
Yeah, that's through Buku Comics right now. Joe Massimo, comic retailer. Great guy to work with.
That's so cool.
This is Witches of Westchester, which will be a spin-off from Vampires in New Jersey. Nice local book. I was so excited to get on a local book. It's Alton Simpson's the creator.
Awesome.
That's Sister Mercy. I'm not sure of the date of the release on that, but that'll be Sister Mercy.
They reached out to us, right, Frank? But we couldn't get them on in time before their campaign ended. Yeah, we'll get them on the next one.
This is going to be for the next one, yeah.
Perfect.
That is for Sisterhood, Richard Boom. He hasn't told me when he's going to use it, whether it's going to be an artist special. That's a little Frazetta. It says right down there after Frazetta. It's a little Frazetta homage.
Richard Boom. He's in Europe, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yep. Okay. Yeah, he actually gave Billy a tour when he was over there. He was like his tour guide.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's a great guy. He's a great guy.
Yeah, I got to get him on too.
That'll be for Vampires in New Jersey. As you can see, she's on the Pulaski Skyway there. That's the Newark Airport sign and the turnpike below her.
Very cool. Yeah, so that's the images that were sent over to us.
Uh-huh.
That looks great, man. Now, did you do anything for Brian Polito?
No.
You did
not.
I haven't. No. You got to get a Lady Death cover going.
I know. Bucket list.
We're going to have to put in the good word. I think you could do a kick-ass Lady Death. Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Be like, here's your cover now. Pay me, mister.
When I first got excited about comics, like when I first looked at that Michael Turner cover, and then I started going back to this shop and looking at some of these other comics, the cool comics were Lady Death. There was Fathom. There was anything by Top Cow and Image. I mean, if you remember the glory days of Top Cow and Image, it was Lara Croft. It was every great girl character was a Top Cow book, you know? Yeah. And other than that, it was Lady Death. And then you had your Batmans and your Spider-Mans and stuff like that. So.
Oh, yeah. It's unbelievable. Now, when did you say you got into comics?
As far as reading them,
when did you actually start reading? Because I know you said your mom was into art, and it was more.
You
were just like exposed to art in general.
It was probably in my late 20s, right after I got married. The thing my wife definitely needed was for me to start buying comic books, because I just happened to have a local comic book shop, and I went in there because I was done with Dungeons and Dragons. I was just kind of looking to see what it's, and I was like, oh man, look at all this art.
That's incredible. I actually, as an artist, I started collecting comics not for the stories. When I first was like a kid and I was drawing, I would go and just open the books to see what images I liked, and then I'd go and try to recreate them. And that's how I learned anatomy, and that's how I learned drawing. And then obviously I was like, oh, maybe I should read it. And then I did start reading it, and then I remember like Batman Shadow of the Bat. Like that was my first series I kept with. And then, like most people, I hit, middle school, high school, comics kind of went to the side,
right.
And it was then back in my adult life that, I was kind of like, all right, I'm not going to closet this stuff anymore. I love Star Trek. I love comics. I don't care anymore.
Right.
I'm getting back into it.
Right. Okay.
I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
You just want to keep doing what you want to do.
Yeah. No, my love of comics came late. It came very late. In fact, I didn't even, like you said, read the books. I was interested in the art, and like you said, the way you learn to draw is by looking at what other people have drawn before you.
Exactly.
And going off that. And people are saying, people say, it feels weird to copy. No, you've got to learn how things go together, and that's how you learn how things go together.
Yeah.
But yeah, then for me, comics, as far as a story, like as Peary's Second Moon, which was compiled into a bunch of hardcover books.
Yeah.
The art was phenomenal, and the story stuck with me. Another example is Lone Wolf 2100, done by Mike Kennedy and Velasco. The book was gorgeous as far as the art style, and it's Lone Wolf. What a great story to begin with, and it was told so well. But other than that, I've never really followed comic story streams, very devoutly, because it's always something. It has to be something a little different to pull me in.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that, like, people are like, talking about, oh, well, it's weird to copy. But what I found interesting is, like, someone was like, why are you tracing? And I was like, I'm tracing my own work because I want a clean copy. Like I'll trace. So I don't know if you do that. You put it, you put your page on your light box, or even if you do it digitally, you put another layer over it, and you want the clean lines. Because if you're doing traditional drawing, you don't want you can't get rid of all those eraser marks. So you got to get everything the way you want. And then you're going to go over it on a light box, and you're going to do all your final lines and pencil, and then you get ready to ink.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people understand the process with drawing.
Right.
Like there's it's not all freehand. You're using stencils, you're using rulers, you're using things like we'd love to all draw a perfect circle, but when time is of the essence, you're going to pull it out. You're going to get your stencil.
my fans joke about the size of my circle template, but I use my circle template. I'd be lost without the thing. You have oval templates, French curves, or there's tools involved to make it easier to draw. But like you said with the tracing, Tom Hutchinson makes fun of me because when I submit a rough to him, it's rough, but it's almost finished with the details.
Yeah.
And he kids me about, you don't have to add in all the details. But when I'm sending a rough to a publisher, I'm selling the image, and I got to add all the details in that sell the image. And so, like you said, when it's done and they've approved it, it's a mess. It's a hot mess, and it's got to all be redone with the light box or with tracing paper or whatever.
Yeah,
you got to. Yeah, exactly.
Now, do you color? Are you coloring all your own stuff too?
No.
Okay.
I work with colorists. Carrie Ann colors 90% of my work. Almost all the images that you pulled up there, she's done the color on. So all I'm doing is the pencils and the scanning and sending it off for digitaling.
Wow, this is crazy. So this is like, let's see, December of what was it? December of 18 you started, right?
Yeah.
So all right, so December of 18. I mean, this is a very short journey.
Oh,
and you're like,
and I didn't get my first published cover till June.
Yeah, 6 months though.
Yeah, so 6-8 months. Yeah, exactly.
There's guys going years.
I know.
You've got, what's cool is you've got the unique style.
Yeah.
You've got the unique style. I call it the Scotty Young category.
Right,
where you've got your unique style, and people want that variant. You can make a great name in covers. Have you ever dabbled in sequential art?
No, I've never worked with sequential art.
Is it something you've ever practiced, like doing a page or anything of that nature?
I've looked at panels. It's just never, it's something I've looked at and thought, wow, it'd be kind of cool, to do. But it's, like, especially in a format, maybe less so in a comic book, but like Oscar Martin put out that book, his hardcover graphic novel Solo. I don't know if you know it.
Yeah, I know that.
Now, I love that book. I think I've read it like 5 or 6 times already since I got it. his formatting, his full page dynamic combat scenes. It is very exciting, but it's something I'm a little nervous about trying. I mean, he's an accomplished, artist for how long, so he can really pull off the small to large panel conversions and stuff flawlessly.
Now, what inspired you? Because I saw a comment. Someone said it kind of reminds them of like a Betty Boop thing. What inspired your style?
This is the thing, and I say it all the time. And you hear artists say that that their fans are a large part of their style or how their style is. But my fans literally created my style because I was selling so much fan art and selling it so fast that the speed was an issue. As fast as I could draw something, I could sell it. Even right now, if I post, if I rough something out on a piece of paper and post it on Facebook, a couple of people are claiming it before it's even done. So what that means is speed kind of translated into a style element. And then the other part of it is because I was selling so much sketch art, what would sell told me what to draw next. You know what I mean? So as the girls became a little curvier, as they became a little, the poses got a little more dramatic, they would sell faster. So that kind of influenced how I drew them going forward. The eyes became a little bigger, a little more pouty on the lips. All those elements were based on the fact that whatever was selling was the thing I was going to draw next.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this question, because of the way the world is these days. Do you ever get any flack for the women you draw?
I get the biggest comment I get is, how do they stand up? And because they seem a little top heavy. But in all honesty, and I know everybody's going to say, oh, yeah, 50% of his fans are women. Literally 50% of my fans, easily, the buying fans, the ones who buy my original art off my website and stuff, are women. And I think part of it is, as much as the anatomy might appeal to guys, obviously, the dramatic anatomy, the girls are also cute. And you know what I mean? It's not like they're obnoxious porn kind of adjacent kind of stuff. They're usually in cute situations where they're surprised or startled or something, and I think they're relatable. So I've gotten no negative flack, considering how many people are following me on Facebook and on Instagram. I've gotten no negative flack. I mean, I've had one or two trolls, everybody gets them or whatever, but they disappear right away.
If you don't feed the troll, they go back under the bridge. You just literally just ignore them. They have nothing to. If you don't respond, they've got nothing to go off of. But no, I like what you're doing, man. I really do, and I'm really glad you came on, because I've just been watching your stuff. Like, I always stop whenever I'm scrolling, and honestly, it's been over the past year. Whenever I'm scrolling, I'm always seeing what you're doing because I've been watching your progression. I've watched your growth in what you're doing.
Right.
I mean, I'm hoping to see a she one day.
Oh, thanks. Oh, yeah, definitely a she. The interesting thing is about she, when Billy was launching his Kickstarter, I was so glad it was back and that he was bringing her back. The funny thing is that same comic book store where I went in, I remember the she cover that I first saw because it had that Nagel quality about it. It was a very simple background. There was the sun, and then there was her. It was so graphic, it was like, what I loved about it was boiled down to the simple elements. There's her, there's the red sun, and the word she, and that's it. We're selling it like that.
Oh yeah, it was very simplistic, but it was so eye catching. I remember that too. I remember going into right around the corner from my house, walking distance. We used to have a small comic shop, but they did focus more on cards. It was called Card Castle, but they had the comic section. And I remember I went in there, and then I was like, "Ooh, I want to." Of course, my mom opened it up, and it was like a naked woman right on the first page.
Of course.
So she's like, "You don't want that. Here, have Batman." And I'm like, "All right, that's fine." And I'm like, "But you didn't see what Poison Ivy looked like." But it was his book was very capturing, and it was so different. It was so different. And it's like what you're doing. No one has your style.
Right.
No one has your style. It's fantastic. I mean, it's crazy. I can't wait to see where you're at a year from now.
I know.
Like, what's your portfolio like? I guarantee you at that time you'll have a Polito cover.
I'm hoping. But
have you reached out to them? Because a lot of people send him stuff and things. That's how he finds a lot of people. They send things.
the one thing I've always been hesitant to do is, as much as I promote myself online and stuff like that, I don't like to get into people's faces. Yeah. In other words, like, here's what I got. This is what I'm doing. This is what it looks like. I hope you like it, kind of thing. Like, like even that time, the comment with Tom where I said, "Oh, I'd like to draw that." I wasn't obnoxious, like, "Hey, here's my drawing. What do you think? Should you give me a cover?" It was just, "Hey, I'd like to do something like that." I like to go that route, and so I know you're supposed to send things to publishers to get them to want to do it. I'm probably not going to be comfortable doing that. It's just not me.
I'll do it for you then. I'm just gonna be like, "Hey, Brian, check this out." Yeah. I got to talk to him soon, anyways. I got to see how the what is it? The Coffin Comics Con online.
Yes,
that's a tongue twister.
This weekend.
This weekend. Yeah, which is interesting. So then, I don't know if you've ever watched the show, Steph. But one of our moderators, TJ, who's usually in the chat. I know he's working tonight. Right. He was sending me links today, like, it's all starting, and that's other. Was it Xeno? What's the name of that? You know what I'm talking about? Xenoscope. They're doing starting tomorrow. They're doing their online.
Are they really? Oh wow!
Yes. And a few characters.
Response to the coronavirus?
Correct.
Okay.
Which we predicted. We knew this was going to happen because I mean, what else are you going to do? You know, think about it. Have you been doing conventions, or do you plan on?
I've got a convention in Philly in April, the beginning of April, if it doesn't get canceled. And I'm doing Baltimore. I'm starting very small on conventions.
Well, we should be at Baltimore as long as conventions are still happening this year. So you definitely got to hang out with us. Do you drink at all?
Definitely.
Are you a drinker?
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, because we're gonna get together and it's called Scotch Con.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that's where we drink scotch, or actually just drink anything.
Right.
You can drink rubbing alcohol if you want, whatever's on your menu.
Right.
But they nicknamed it Scotch Con, and then it was Isaac Con because Isaac's the one who started it. But Isaac's such a great guy, and he brings some of the finest stuff. But yeah, we'll definitely have to get together in Baltimore.
Definitely.
But what I was getting at with the convention stuff is that I can't remember now. What was I saying? Because I'm now thinking of Scotch.
Online, Zenoscope.
Zenoscope, online. So that's what we're looking at. So what's your next progression is that now they're going to take it online because they need to sell the exclusive stuff. Because that's what happens when you start doing these conventions. You're going to start actually doing exclusive stuff for said convention. Yeah. And sometimes they literally label these things like ECC, Emerald City Comic Con, and things like that. So I'm really curious to see how well these hold up, though. Because me and Frank, we started off on Facebook. How we even figured out how to do all this stuff is we would do just a comic book auction show. It was called Comic Cabana Live Auction Show. And we would go up and I would get silly and act the fool. Frank is the straight man, and we'd sell comics. But we had, it was me, it was him, it was a buddy of mine monitored online. We had another guy in the studio monitoring stuff. So I'm really curious to see how they're going to actually manage everything,
right? Pull it together.
Think of Coffin Comics and what Pleto does. I mean, his campaigns, thousands of backers,
right?
Now you bring these people on live, like, holy smokes, how are you going to track all that? I'm so the techie in me, the tech guy in me wants to know how they're going to do it, and I know they'll be successful because anything Brian touches is gold.
They're going to be awesome.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, but I'm dying to see it. I'm probably going to spend half my weekend there on the online con because there's live panels and there's this. I just want to see how it works and how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, I get the concept is cool because we actually have like the panel thing. We have our panel ideas set up, and now it's actually reaching out to creators on there. And I have a panel, and I'll email you the details on it. And if you're interested, we'll do a virtual panel. But we're going to be offering virtual panels too. But I think it's cool that they're going to be setting up cameras at people's booths. So Matt Michaels is setting up his booth as if he was at Emerald City Comic Con. Coffin Comics booth will be set up. And Monty Michael Moore's booth will be set up. So, and they're all local to Arizona, which is nice.
Right. Makes it easy to put them all together. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Now you're on the East Coast too, right? Like us?
Yes, East Coast.
Okay.
Jersey.
Yeah. So we'll have to see what happens here. Have you ever attended Terrificon in Connecticut at Mohegan?
No, I haven't.
No, that's a really good convention. We're going to be doing that one this year too. Mitch Halleck, who we've had on the show, and he's actually going to be more of a regular because he's very knowledgeable. And what some of the we're switching up the channel with some new shows and series that are going to be added. He's definitely going to be a part of that. You know, it definitely as an info guy. Plus, he's just fun to talk to. He's got a great sense of humor. But and he produces that. That's his convention.
Oh,
it's
okay.
Great. Yeah. You know, Lou's been there. Lou loves it. It's a great convention. So if you guys ever want to get away, hang out at the casino and go to a good convention, you know.
Hey, convention and casino, that's guaranteed a good time.
Yeah.
Definitely. Nice cigar bars, everything. Let me ask you a question. So is your wife supportive of all this?
So supportive that she's my colorist.
Ooh.
My main colorist.
Nice. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
And like me, she got in because she got dragged in. In other words, I started submitting line art. I was very blessed to get Sanju to color my work. One of the first colorists to do my work.
He's phenomenal, man.
It was a bucket list item for me. I knew Sanju.
Yeah.
You know? I thought Sanju was only allowed to color Bill McKay's work. I was like, Sanju.
He's like adopted him.
Right. I thought it was like, you know, like he had Sanju in his basement or something. I was like, what do you mean I can get Sanju? And so, but shortly after that, I got some color back that I wasn't really thrilled with, you know, and my style is so different that I think it represents an obstacle for people who are used to coloring, say, certain types of styles, you know? And so my wife, iPad Pro, digital inking, in a month, she put out a cover. Literally a month after she learned the program, she colored my cover for Violet with Jim Noble, and it was just like, okay, she's now my colorist. Look at this. So
that's cool. That's neat.
Like that bunny cover that you loved, St. Pat's bunny rabbit cover. That's her.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, are you both
since June?
Really?
Since June, she's been doing that, and she's at that level.
Like, she just picked it up. Like, okay, I'll try it.
Yep. Well, and part of it for her was she knows what my drawings were supposed to be like, and I always say that she brings my drawings to life because she makes them as bouncy as I imagined when I drew the lines. She gives them the 3 dimensions that I wanted them to have, or the character that I wanted them to have. So, so it was she was very passionate about translating my work the way it should look.
That's cool. That's great though too, because now like your colorist, you guys are, you know, partners in everything, but she must exactly know, like you said, she can capture what you want. She knows what you want. Yeah, she's been there on the journey with you, seeing the evolution of your work. Now, is this full time, or do you still have to work a day job?
No, she still works full time.
Yeah.
For me, this has become full time. This is my
job. How does it feel now? Because you mentioned a very important name when it comes to drawing, you know, some badass chicks, Bill McKay, you know, Dan Mendoza. I mean, you are on the, you know, you're on the rise now with these guys,
right?
Like you were, you know, hitting that level.
Literally bizarre world. My wife and I went to a con in April, and ran into Bill McKay, and we went there because Bill McKay was going to be there, and I've always loved his work, absolutely loved his work, and I fangirled at his table for 45 minutes. Poor guy had to deal with me for like 45 minutes. I literally was so stunned to be meeting Bill McKay that I walked away from his table without buying anything. broke the golden rule of Comic-Cons, and I jumped onto his website as soon as I got home and bought some stuff off his website and apologized to him. Like, so in April of last year, I was fangirling over Bill McKay's table and thinking, you know, it's so cool to go to a con and meet Bill McKay. And I wasn't thinking I would be in the industry in a million years. So this has become bizarre world. I literally look around every once in a while and go, whose life am I living? Like, where did this come from? You know, like, how did this happen?
Oh, so, and James Noble, thank you so much. Yeah, we're more than happy to accept anything. We cherish anything that's sent to us. And we open them live. We open them live on the show. I actually have a box sitting here that is going to be open live on our next show. I just want to make sure that the
James, you got to ship 2, one for Frank and one for Nile.
That's going to be fantastic. Thank you so much, James. We really appreciate that. Yeah, Bill McKay, by the way. Awesome dude to hang out with.
Yes.
I mean, we spent like 2 or 3 hours with him in the bar.
It was crazy.
It was crazy.
The last night of Baltimore. Well,
last night for
Saturday
us.
night. Saturday night.
We did Friday and Saturday. We had to head back to Connecticut on Sunday. But yeah, the last night was freaking insane.
It has to be,
yeah.
I'm sure it's a rite of passage if you can survive a night at a con with Bill McKay. That has to be like, you probably get a medal.
So chill. So chill. I think I bought him two drinks. I think he bought me a drink. I forget. You know, there's a lot of drinking going on. But
and he was going to stay for just one drink. He's like, I'll just stay for one drink. And then like,
we were just chatting
like
away.
3 hours later.
Yeah,
he's going to be on.
I can't wait for Baltimore. That's one of the reasons I can't wait for Baltimore. It'll be my first opportunity to go out for drinks with Bill.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. Everyone just meets up in the bar, and then after the awards, because they're gonna have the awards on Saturday night, everyone's in the bar. I mean, at big names, you know, Steranko's there, Jim Lee's there.
It's gonna be
everybody's there. It's really quite casual.
It is
quite casual. You know, but it is a really fun time, and there's such a nice, warm group. And the Jeppies are there. I spent hours with Josh Jeppy. Fantastic people.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Grant, you know, they're the big distributor, but man, when I tell you, like, they care. They truly do care about comics. They want to make the best they can do. They want to give the best they can. I mean, it's a big pair of shoes they're wearing.
Yeah.
You know, and what's cool is I actually got to learn, you know, obviously they're distributing, you know, all the publisher stuff, everybody, but the fact that, you know, they really do support indie creators. They personally out of their own pocket will back and have backed crowdfunded campaigns, you know, and they've gone above and beyond. I mean, like helping these creators out by purchasing the large end of stuff. And I mean, they really are just a bunch, you know, not to sound weird, just a bunch of sweet guys that really just, you know, love comics. They love toys. They love what they do. Really.
I have to say it. I mean, I've only been in this industry since June, and the most incredible people are in this industry, straight up. The most supportive people, the nicest people, you know, big artists have, you know, reached out to me or let me know that what I'm doing is right or going in the right direction. You know, a year ago, I'm looking at comic art and admiring it, and 4 months ago, eBass is commenting on my work on Facebook, and I'm like,
incredible.
Huh? Like, how did that happen? You know, or I'm talking with Bill McKay at a con for 40 minutes and not acting like a total idiot because we're talking about covers and publishers and things like that. And it's just, he's got, you know, for Bill McKay to spend that kind of time with me, it's just absolutely phenomenal. For these creators, amazing creators like Wendy Shaner and Tom I mentioned and Jim Noble, they're just so supportive. It's an amazing group. And then after all of that support and help that you get, then the fans are just phenomenal. They're just absolutely amazing. I mean, the chat sessions I have with fans just on Messenger and stuff like that, just amazing people throughout this entire industry.
No, it's true. And you know, the more and more you meet, just so down to earth. Yeah. So down to earth. Because really, you know, like I guess I learned this motto from Billy. The best is, you know, comics is the industry where you can make hundreds of dollars. Right. You know, people aren't multi-millionaires running around like this. They're strictly doing this because they love what they do. You know, they really, you know, there's nothing super flashy about it. You know, some guys have made some great successes, but a lot of people are just down to earth. This is their job. This is what they do. You know, they love that. And you're witnessing it because you're doing it, is the fact of actually people saying like how much your work is touching them, you know, how much they like what you're doing and they want to see more of what you're doing. And I mean, I'll tell you, man, when you start doing your conventions, people start coming up to you, you know, you're on that right path, man. You're blowing up. Yeah. That's why when I had this idea, I was like, I need to have you on first. You need to be my first guest so that when you do blow up, I could be like, boom, I freaking had him first.
Yeah, had him first.
I had him first, man.
Exactly.
So Luti Art says he has an important question for you. I told him to ask his question, so we're waiting for that to come through. So as far as any other campaign stuff that's going on that you're working on, is there anything you can tell us that's coming down the pike?
Yes.
Or anything you're working on?
Let's see. Coming soon is gonna be, let's see. You showed the Sister Mercy, the Baby Badass Sisterhood. Vampires in New Jersey is coming very shortly. Vampires in New Jersey, very interesting. Alton Simpson. He's been doing this, and I got to give him a plug. He's been doing this the hard way. This is book 5 or 6. All the other books, he's been going around to the comic book shops, the local comic book shops throughout New Jersey and Pennsylvania, the old school way, selling his book from shop to shop to shop to shop. So for him to go on crowdfunding, this is his first crowdfunding. This is just huge because this is the way comics or independent comics used to be made. So I was so excited to get on his book because it was local, you know, and I saw the work that he was doing to get his comic out there before he even got around to kickstarting and stuff. And then, of course, I have Princes vs. Zombies with Tom Hutchinson. I have a special lined up with Tom for May, special variant edition. Carrie and I have 2 artist variants coming out, one in a few weeks, and one we're hoping to premiere in Baltimore. And she's talking me into doing an art book this summer.
But, very cool.
Crowdfunded
That's
art.
A great idea. Great idea. What platform do you think you'll go on? You know, now that, you know, Indiegogo is picking up some crazy steam, do you know which one you'll try?
I'll probably go on Kickstarter because the majority of my fans are on Kickstarter. And I get where Indiegogo is going, but even the big producers I notice go Kickstarter first, then Indiegogo. You know, on most of their projects. Eventually it might switch completely and you'll see more on Indiegogo. But I'm thinking I'll probably do it on Kickstarter because most of my fans have backed my books on Kickstarters.
No, that makes perfect sense. You know, you go where your fans are, and you go where you go through. You know, it's funny. There's one point we were experimenting with both, right? Because it's crowdfunding comics. I've got you know, Indiegogo, and I've got Kickstarter, and we try to really be a neutral platform. Just all bullshit aside, everyone stop being babies. Let's just focus on good creators. Give a spotlight. You know, get the static to go away for a minute, and just let people really plug their stuff. And but it allowed us. We had to really look into the systems, right? And you were looking like pros and cons for everything. And we used to kind of promote like, hey, do both. But one thing I really learned, and a viewer really brought this up to me, which made me look into it more, is like, well, you can't really do that. You're like double dipping, and you know, you just got to kind of go with where your fan base is. Like if you're building up a good fan base, don't just abandon it and try to go somewhere else. So my new thing is, if you think your core group is in one space, go for it. That's where you try it first, right? And if you weren't satisfied with it, and you don't think you're going to get growth in your next 2 or 3 campaigns, then try something else. So it's good that you recognize where your fans are shopping, where they are, who they're backing, and go from there. I think your art book's going to do very successful, and we got to have you on when you do that.
Oh yeah, thanks.
You know, and so Lou's got his question up. We'll post this up here. So
hello.
He says, when did you know you were safe physically to make the change to full-time work on your art and have it take over your previous full-time job whilst knowing you'd be safe, meaning you wouldn't, hang on, there's another part, have to live worrying about being able to afford to live at least comfortably. My dream is to live off the art, what I do working in panel, artwork, storytelling medium.
Gotcha. Honestly, what I was doing was I was in business. I was in human resources, actually, and I was an engagement consultant. And it wasn't work that I was enjoying doing. And the sketches that I was doing was becoming a second income. So to answer your question, Lou, when your second income represents close to your first income, as far as sales, the sales of your art start equaling your first income. Now you're technically doubling your income. Now is the time to think about putting more time into the art and ditching the other one. You know, and like every artist, you got to worry about things like healthcare and things like that, and where those costs are going to come from. You know, when you're working human resources with a corporation, you've got healthcare. You know, it's part of the deal, part of the package deal. So you also got to factor those costs in. But at some point, the money you're earning on the side from art should start to challenge the money that you're earning in your regular job.
Yeah, one that has to outweigh your first income so you can make the move. But it's funny, I was having a talk with Billy the other day, and I was like, dude, you know what I just realized? Like, unless you break really, really big, I was like, it almost seems like you still have to have like a full-time job to try to get benefits and things, and then sleepless nights for the rest of your comic career to try to make it work, because it is tough. You know, if you have a spouse that's working and they have been, you know, I'm fortunate. My wife's a teacher, you know, so we're able to go through her benefits. So, I mean, I still work a normal day job, you know, and we do all this stuff on the side. I mean, you know, usually after we broadcast, it's the drawing tables and everything's over there, and I try to jump on there and get things done, or writing on the computer for the books. I mean, you just, it's hunger, you know. But you hit the
answer Lou's question too. It helps if you have, in other words, even if, you know, covers are only a small percentage of the income, because you get paid for the cover and you get comps, which you can sell. And that's all a limited amount of income. So it's the commissions and the sketches that you do as an artist on the side and sell, and the original art that you sell, that represents the other half of the income. So without both sides of those equations, you're not going to make ends meet, you know?
Yeah.
When you do cons, Steph, what do you bring with you? Is it majority prints? Is it, you know, you're bringing original art, you know, and then also taking a list, you know?
Now I've only done one con. It was a 1-day show, so it was a good way to dip my feet into it, kind of thing. And then I've got the one in April planned. But when I do a con, because I do original sketches and a lot of original sketches, that's what my fans are going to want to see at a con. So where some artists might have a table full of covers and they might do a couple commissions, I also come with a rack of sketches that you can pick up right there, original sketches. Of course, the original art from covers is in a book, and then I have the covers on the table as well. But yeah, I guess part of it is I have more original work because I do a lot of original work. Because even when I'm not doing a commission, if for a morning warm-up, I might just sketch out Supergirl getting into the shower. And then throw the rough draft up. Somebody buys it online, and then I sell it. So yeah, I usually have about 50% original work at my table that you can buy, just like walk up and buy, not commissions.
Now, do you collect with your commissions? Because I see this with artists that are starting off. They're doing commissions, doing things. They're taking the art before collecting the money. Do you collect the funds up front and then do the person's commission?
What I do, and I've been lucky, I haven't gotten screwed, so I'll keep doing it, is what I'll generally do is take your commission idea, get the information from you, tell you what the price is going to be about based on the details that you give me. I will rough something out, and I'll rough something out to the point where you can see what it's going to look like finished. If you're somebody I've never sold artwork to before, at that point I might ask you to pay because I don't know who you are. If I've ever sold you a piece of artwork ever, then we've got credit as far as I'm concerned. So you only pay when it's done. And I'll send you an image when it's done, and then you pay for it. And I'm lucky, and I know I'm lucky with my fans and the way my fans work that I've been able to do that. But it bothers me to take money up front for something I haven't done yet. And I know that's how it works, but it just makes me feel like I'm under pressure. Like, oh my God, this guy's money, and he's expecting a sketch. When I know I'm going to do it, but it just feels like, pay me when I'm done.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So, Steph, we really appreciate you coming on. This has been fun.
Thank you.
How can everyone stay a hold of, keep an eye on what you're doing and whatnot? What social media are you on?
So I'm on Twitter, obviously. I'm on Instagram as Bad Carry Studios, and I'm on Facebook as Steph Wilson. Here's how I kind of work it. I post important things to Twitter, like covers that are dropping and stuff like that. For Instagram, I use Instagram primarily as a gallery. Everything I do eventually goes on Instagram. And just to give you an example, I was on Instagram since December of last year, so a year and 2 months. And there are 980 posts on there. So everything I do goes on Instagram. And that's the rate I work at. Everybody jokes about how I'm fast and I never sleep, and that's pretty much why. And then Facebook is for me to interact, like to comment back and forth with fans. To me, Facebook is a convention. It's almost like a convention.
Yeah, exactly.
I can see Bill McKay. I can say something snarky about his work. I can scroll down and see Jesse Wichman's post and make fun about the background being, crazy, outlandish, beautiful, gorgeous, way too much. And so I can interact with artists and fans through Facebook. So to me, that's a social thing. I mean, the funny thing is people ask me, how do you get ahead and how do you get noticed and stuff? My average screen time on Facebook last week was over 6.5 hours a day on top of drawing. You have to put the time into the social media to get what you want out of it. So Facebook, Steph Wilson, Instagram, Bad Carry Studios, Twitter, Bad Carry Studios.
Awesome. We'll put links to your stuff in the description of the show.
Thanks.
Do you ever go live on Facebook drawing?
I've never done live drawing. Tom Hutchinson will be the first person to get me on Artist Alley because I promised him that I would do it, and he invited me first. He said, if you ever want to talk about doing a show on Artist Alley, a live drawing show, selling show. So the first one I'll ever do will be on Artist Alley because I owe that to Tom because he extended that offer first. But yeah, I've never done a live drawing show.
Is Artist Alley on YouTube or does he do it on Facebook?
It's on Facebook.
It's on Facebook. Very cool. Very cool. And that still has to be scheduled?
Yeah, I haven't made any plans. I wanted to get the con setting up. I'll have some time between now and Baltimore to consider it. So but I wanted to get the Philly con out of the way before I did.
Very cool, man. Very cool. Well, again, thank you so much, dude. We really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.
This was great. Frank, do you have any other questions for Steph?
No.
Awesome.
I'm excited to see him at Baltimore.
I know, me too. Me too. I'll tell you what I want for a commission at Baltimore.
Yes.
All right.
We'll add it to the collection here in the studio. And before we go, guys, we have a great guest on Thursday night. We're going to have Bo Smith back in the studio. And we're going to be talking about Wynonna Earp season 4 on Sci-Fi, and he's going to be telling us what's going on this season. Now, if any of you guys aren't familiar with Bo Smith, he's the creator of Wynonna Earp, which started off as a comic in the 90s. It was a Son of a Bad Girl book, and then it was adapted for Sci-Fi. The Earpers have spoken. They were trying to cancel it after season 3, and the Earpers spoke, and they brought it back. And I have to tell you, for Sci-Fi, is known for sometimes having some interesting shows. But Wynonna Earp's a freaking damn good show. And Tim Rozon is we had him. So actually, Steph, if you haven't seen it, our second episode we ever did was with Bo Smith and Tim Rozon.
Is that in your archives?
Yeah, that's in the archives. It's the second episode. Back in the days when it was all new. The Wild Frontier. So young. But
you guys were called VJs, right? Or,
yeah.
Stewart was
welcome everyone to Crowdfunding Comics. How you doing, about Scala?
There you go.
Fantastic, amazing. How you doing, buddy?
But but if you haven't seen it, it's actually a fun show. It's the first season started off a little slow, but then it picked up and it came through, and it's a neat concept, and it's cool. And for those that
are on Sci-Fi Channel. My favorite shows have always been Haven, Eureka, all the great shows.
You know what show I actually really enjoyed, and I think they're going to be doing the last season is Magicians.
Magicians, yeah.
That was pretty neat. It's just the hand stuff they did. It's crazy. Oh, I just knocked so much magic, I knocked my earpieces out. But yeah, so Thursday, we will have Bo Smith on, 9 p.m. Should be a great show. And something cool I'll announce. I was going to wait, but since I don't have promos, we're just going to let you know. Eric Larson, Savage Dragon creator, CFO of Image Comics, founding member of Image Comics, will be joining the show March 26th.
Wow.
He will be on the show, so that's going to be exciting. And we've got some other big names lined up, waiting for some confirmations we should have tomorrow, and maybe I'll leak those out as well. So we're very excited. Big things this year. And Steph, and like I said, if you heard, and I signed off with our past guests before you tonight, once you're on the show, you're part of the Crowdfunding Comics family. Right. I'm going to tag you in shit. I'm going to include you in stuff. And you do the same.
Yep.
If you got something coming out, if you're working on a book and you want to help spread the word, tag us in it once. We'll keep pushing it along. Or if you want to get those creators on the show with you as well, if you want to come back on with whoever you're working with, think, hey, this is a great product. Seriously, get a hold of me, get a hold of Frank, get a hold of Billy.
This is comics. We're all in this together. You need anything from me? You want me to share, to whatever, call my fans out to something you're doing? Just let me know. We're all in this together.
Fantastic, my friend. All right, Steph, you have yourself a great night. We will be in touch, and gonna keep stalking your work on Facebook, man.
Definitely.
All right, Steph. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steph.
Thanks so much. Man, Frank, another great Tuesday.
Yeah.
We've got so much great stuff going on, man.
Filled. There were so many.
I know. This is the way to do it. We keep them coming on. There's so many creators out there wanting to get on the show. So many great artists out there doing amazing things.
Yes.
You know, and it's going to be awesome because next Tuesday we got a whole nother batch of creators coming in, and we've got Rob Willis coming on. He's going to be our second spotlight artist, and another very talented guy that, just as Steph has started off not too long ago, taking his work seriously, you know, has been a lifelong artist, you know, influenced, you know, his mother, encouraging things of that nature. And we've got so many great things lined up, dude. I'm so pumped.
I know.
And Eric Larson on, man. We're just May's booked. April's booked. We're just booking.
I know. Like, we're not even halfway through March yet. And
I know.
Like, what we have set up that you haven't shared yet.
I know.
I mean,
it's so hard to sit here. I have a lump in my throat trying to hold back all these art. I mean, and the thing is, it's not even that they're not coming on. It's just we've got to work with their schedules, confirm dates. I mean, not on top of that. I mean, we've got on Mondays, which we just have to lock in. Are we doing it every Monday? Are we doing it every other Monday? We're going to have Crowdfunding Confidential. You know, we're going to be talking. We're going to have our gossip channel, if you want to call it. You know, not even that, but we're just going to look at what people are doing on Indiegogo, on Kickstarter, see how campaigns are truly doing. What else is out there? We're going to allow the fans to come explore with us. You know, it's a casual night. Come explore this. We're going to, you know, if anything hot is happening in the industry, we might as well talk about it. You know, if it's a good thing, how can it get better, or good just to talk about good stuff? You know, if a bad thing happened, then we digress. You know, what are you going to do there? But there's so many good things. And man, Tuesday with the crowdfunding comics. Now Thursday is Crowdfunding Comics presents Mainstream, where we've got all these mainstream creators lined up. I mean, conventions are going to be tough this year. Coronavirus, you know, say what you will. I say, you know, it's better safe than sorry. Many of us, if we ever contract, it might just be like the flu and we survive. But again, you don't want to get someone else sick that may not. Holy crap. What if you're the catalyst? Oh, geez, I'm not even going to mess with that.
Zero.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm on the other hand, I'm like, you know, I'm looking at conventions like in the future. I'm like, oh, this artist is going to be there. Oh, I mean, you know me. And I'm like planning everything out of who I want to go see. So like, I'm doing that now. I'm like, I don't care if there's coronavirus. I'll be there if the artist is there. You know,
he'll be done in a hazmat suit or whatever. Just like, this is my list. You're gonna draw it and get it to me now. I don't care if you're dying. You came here. You draw. I pay. You draw. That's Frank Amazing's way. And if you cross me off the list, then you're done.
Oh, furry.
Then you're done.
You're on another list.
Yeah. But you know what? That's where our mantra now, man, is we bring the creators to you.
Yeah.
This is your personal panel. This is your personal experience. That's why we put up chats. We do things. You know, we've got super chats, and you know, we are going to start encouraging the super chats because we got to fund the show. We got to fund equipment. We got to fund our con travel. You know, so any super chat would be much appreciated when we have some of these bigger guests on. Plus, we get swamped with so many questions.
Yes.
That in order to keep these questions, man, it's a crazy deal, bro. But you're saying? Go ahead.
I think also, you know, we want to get back to focusing on our guests. Like, we have questions that we know our fans want. You know,
exactly.
Well. And, you know, it's tough when you're, you know, trying to engage with the guests and then you're just looking at, you know, the screen go by so quickly. And, you know, there are some times when stuff gets missed.
Oh, exactly.
So
that's 100%. And, you know, that's the thing, though, is now taking the time to really focus on them and what they're doing. And we got to do, you know, that's why we're doing more guests a show.
Yeah.
We got to give everyone their 15 minutes, man. Get out there and promote your stuff.
Yeah.
Do it now.
And I will say, you know, we've said this before, but, if you got something going on, email us. Crowdfundingcomics@gmail.com is the best way.
Yes.
Yeah, you can reach out to us through Twitter, Facebook, anything like that. But we're really going to funnel you to our email accounts.
Oh yeah, send everything, because don't DM Billy. Don't do that stuff, because it's all got to get to Frank Amazing. Frank Amazing schedules
Because
everything.
we got the schedule and we got where we got some spots left.
Yes. Tucci!
Hey,
How'd you get in here? That's incredible. How'd you get in here,
you got a
Tucci?
wrench, bitch.
You got a wrench?
I got a wrench, Bish. Bish.
What's up, Ish?
Where's our guests?
They all left.
They all left. They're like,
almost
who?
11.
They're like, who's Billy Tushy?
Shit.
I'm like, no, it's Billy Tushy.
I missed the whole damn thing.
Yeah, bro, it's 11 o'clock, dude.
I know, man. Well, they decided to retire to the dugout, which is the bar.
Ooh,
And I said, okay.
time to go.
Uh-oh. How was the Legion? The meeting
Oh,
of
it's
the
good.
Legion?
It was very good. It was good. It was a lot of fun. Lot of things happening at the Legion Hall.
Did you eat the sauerkraut, Billy? Did they have
It was
the
no sauerkraut, but it was Joe Sam. That's why we end up staying. Joe Sam, 88 years young. It was his birthday.
Wow.
Army veteran. No, I think he's a Navy veteran.
Oh, nice.
So, it was a celebration for him. Great guy. Rides a motorcycle still every day. He's a badass.
Oh shit.
Damn.
Does he have like those cool like faded out tattoos?
No, I think so. Yeah, I think he does.
Ray
But he's got a
Simpson
trike
had
now.
pull
He's
his
got a
arm.
trike.
Pull his
He's
arm
got
to
a-
see the anchor.
No, he's got a trike though. So
I was in the war.
no, he doesn't talk like that. He's awesome, man.
Like, hey Billy, how you doing? How you doing?
No, he's got a trachea. He had esophageal
yeah.
cancer, I guess, from smoking. So he has to talk like.
Oh, we can't make fun of that.
Oh
shit.
yeah.
Now you're making fun of a veteran and
I'm making
someone
fun of a veteran.
with a cancer survivor. Way to go.
We bring Billy in and he just drops everything down.
Oh, I put my helmet away.
Listen here, son.
Sergeant Scala. Seriously, where's our guests?
Dude, they're gone, bro. What are you talking
You gotta
about?
look at the calendar.
You gotta look at the calendar, bro.
I'm sorry. So why are you guys still on? Did our last guest just leave?
Yeah, we're signing off. We're signing off for 11 o'clock.
Well, all right. Well, the hell with you guys then.
All right.
So what are you doing? What do you got going on? What are you doing?
What you got
We're
down
doing
there?
a breakdown. You see Masahiro Arashi in prison,
What's up, you don't know shit.
and he talks about killing somebody. Shah! He starts talking about death.
Ooh.
He's with the Dr. Blevins. There's the heroic
there's
Dr.
Dr.
Blevins.
Blevins.
I know he's kind of light, but there's Blevins. There's the psychiatric hospital, and he's in a room.
He
So,
kind of has the real Blevins eyes, I have to say.
he does. Dead eyes, like a Donald's eye. Black eyes.
I broke the silence and let people know that Eric Larson's going to be on the 26th.
You did, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure did.
That's great, man. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
A legend, another legend.
Another legend. Big things happening here, Billy.
Big things are happening here. When are we gonna do our crowdfunding comics box office returns?
Well, when we come up with a good name for it, then we'll do it.
We better come up with a good name sooner than later, old chum.
Well,
We're doing it next week.
Yeah, we gotta do it next week.
Yeah, we got to do it next week.
Great.
We're going to recap a few select Indiegogos and Kickstarters.
Absolutely. And we'll see who and then we could do the crowdfunding champion of the week.
Ooh. Like the ultimate like crowdfunding call out.
Yeah, like for the week, you know what I mean? Like for the week itself, and then for the year. Who's the crowdfunding champion for the year so far? Like which campaign, which book?
We can't do that.
Why not?
Because 2020 started. So we got to do that in December. Like this is a recap.
No,
of
we do it
everything.
every week. We see who and in the number one slot.
Nah.
This-
well, you
this
can have number
week-
one slot this week, but not of the year. Not of the
Well,
year.
but what do you think if we have and so far this year the top projects of 2020 are as follows. You know, Cyberfrog, The Expendables, Lady Death. Lady Death's over almost hitting 3. Cash Grab is he at 2 yet? He might be at 2. So there's a lot of cool things we could do.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. But not of the year.
Well, no, for the year so far. And then we shall crown a crowdfunded king.
Or queen.
Or queen, absolutely.
Or queen.
You could do it for each month and do it bracket.
That's what we should do. Yes, Frank. Frank's got it.
What's that?
Did you hear the Frank, Billy?
No, I didn't.
Repeat, Frank. Repeat.
So you have someone for each month, and it's bracket style. So like number 1, January versus December, and so forth. And so on.
And then we see which was the best month.
Like fantasy football.
It might not matter what the best month is.
Fantasy foosball.
Fantasy foosball, son.
Well, I finished my Expendables cover. And excellent. Colorist right now, Wes Hartman. So we're going to make that big reveal. Richard posted it very briefly for a few minutes on his page.
Oh, really? And you took it down?
And I took it down.
What's it look like?
It's an homage to that we had Larry Hama on, an homage to a Herb Trimpe G.I. Joe cover. G.I. Joe number 7. But it's Barney Ross, who Sly Stallone's character, and Audie Murphy, the Medal of Honor recipient, back-to-back fighting off this army of hellish warriors in hell.
Dude, you just missed Steph Wilson, man, our artist spotlight of the week.
Oh,
you would love this dude, man. Just a passionate guy.
Shit.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tune in and watch it. I actually had the show on at the meeting on mute.
That's weird.
So I could get a like and you get a view.
He was just like this. My boys. Yeah, I'm
like, what's that? What are you watching? Porn? I'm like, no. They're like, what the fuck is that?
What the hell are you watching? Who likes the guy with the glasses? Why is that guy in a murderous dungeon?
Yeah, they're like, who is that? Who's that? Yeah, I'm sure that's how they talk at the Legion Hall.
Oh gosh, we just they're like, who's that?
Share it with me.
Yeah.
You watching porn? Huh?
Hey, did you get that Etsy thing I sent you?
Don't watch it, Frank. He's like,
you're like, yo, it's rock, paper, scissors, Frank. Dude, by the way, came
rock,
up with an awesome
comics, Frank.
No, not rock, paper, scissors, comics, Frank. It's just rock, paper, scissors, Frank.
Yeah, but see, you need one more thing.
No, you don't. Too many things. Too many things.
For crowdfunded comics poll then. Rock, paper, scissors, comics, Frank. Rock, paper, scissors, Frank. Rock, paper, scissors, Blevins, Frank. I don't know.
No. Why did we let you on? Why did we send you this link?
You did it.
What is going on here?
We're at 11:02.
All right, goodbye.
Like I gotta go.
I've had about enough of you guys. Well, you guys leave. It's my show now. I'm gonna go on with Steph Wilson, the great.
All right, do it.
Sorry, I missed you, Steph.
You look like you're being interrogated.
I'm drawing. I need my light.
I'm drawing.
Oh yeah, I gotta turn my lights on. I didn't have any of my lights on. I just rushed up to turn it on.
Eddie Winkler, my kids and I made up. We made up rock, paper, scissors, poop, fire, water cup. That wins the whole poll. One day I'll explain. Fantastic. We need to hear that soon. But it's rock, paper, scissors, Frank. The show where anything happens, the wackiest situations, the weirdest scenarios, and we make lovely and creators endure the torture.
Yes, 1,000 times yes.
Maybe
hosted by Frank Amazing. Ooh, live on the street. Do you feel the beat? We're live on the street. Yeah. Rock, paper, scissors, Frank and feet.
Go somewhere.
Rock, paper, scissors, Frank feet.
How about we go and you'll just be like on for like the next 2 hours, like rock, paper, scissors, low sodium 2% American cheese, Frank.
Rock, paper, scissors, saccharine, Frank. I like rock, paper, scissors, comics, Frank, because comics can, like, I don't know, win or something. I don't know.
No.
This is stupid. I'm going to go have a beer Well, my wife won't let me have beer because I gotta lower my cholesterol. I gotta change my diet.
Yeah. You're having a bowl of Cheerios.
I gotta go buy Cheerios. Yeah, it's it's just like just lower your diet. Come back in 3 months and we'll see it.
Well, they say that crinkle fries are good for your cholesterol.
Ooh, I like that. Pork rinds and crinkle fries.
Yeah, exactly.
Henry Crinkle. All right, Frank Amazing. Right. Since you know so much about everything, who was Henry Crinkle?
Henry Crinkle.
In cinema history.
I was thinking of chips.
You were thinking.
Did he make the crinkle chip, Billy?
You were thinking of chips? Is that what you said?
I just love chips. They're so crispy.
Hi, kids. Oh, look, it's Brian Boydano.
What would Brian Boydano do?
Hi, kids. All right, I gotta go.
All right.
Yeah.
I've had enough of you guys. Weirdos.
All right, everyone have a great night. Right. We'll see you all Thursday with Bo Smith.
Yeah.
And the Uppers.
Yes.
And the what?
The Erpers, bro. Wow, Frank. Yeah. Frank, amazing. Rock, paper, scissors, disappear, Frank.
Rock, paper, scissors, exit, Frank.
Rock, paper, scissors, vanish, Frank.
Rock, paper, scissors, see ya, Frank. I don't know. Rock, paper, scissors, no, Frank.
Rock, paper, scissors, clap on, clap off, Frank.
All right. Yeah, Lou, I sent you a message, all right? Lou, I'll call you tomorrow. I swear to God, all right? I give you the job. My mother dies. I'll call you tomorrow, Lou. I'm tired.
And you got to call Blevins, bro.
I'm not calling anybody tonight. I got to go to bed. I haven't seen my kids since 7 o'clock.
All right, brother. Have yourself a great night. We'll see everyone Thursday, and that's a wrap.
We got the Earth man, Bo Smith. Bad Day at Black Rock has shipped, so it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's shipped. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, get yourself a cocktail, a Mai Tai, and hey.
Okay, babe. I gotta get that.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
See you later, buddy.
Hey guys, thanks again for tuning into Crowdfunding Comics. We look forward to hanging out with all of our crowdfunding fans every time we go live. And don't forget to click the link below and subscribe to our channel. And there's a little bell. You may want to hit that too. This way you get all the great notifications when we go live and when we upload some awesome content. You want to follow us? Sure, go right ahead at Twitter at CrowdFundComics with an X. Instagram, Crowdfunding Comics, and Facebook at Crowdfunding Comics. Till next time, crowdfunding fans, we'll see you soon.